Chapter 11. That Awkward Day After. Comet took an hour to get out of bed. He didn't really sleep well last night, and upon waking up, he found out why. Somehow, he had fallen asleep in a storage room. Boxes and strange unused furniture, along with the glowing bust of Princess Celestia, lay around the room in no particular order. Comet was wedged in between some boxes labeled Property of Princess Celestia and Full Portraits. He tilted his head at the one box, curious. Was this a set of pictures of young Princess Celestia? Unfortunately, Comet's mind caught up with him before he could look. A frightful image of a griffin bounced around in his mind, and he remembered why he was here in this room. Valerie was drunk last night and had tried to lure Comet into something he didn't really want to do. He shook his head to get rid of the memory, but a small voice spoke in the back of his mind. Sure, he'd only known Valerie for a day, but she was willing to go somewhere with Comet that he'd never been. He was slightly ashamed of it, but Comet prided himself on the fact that he wasn't a tail chaser. He had respect for mares, but he had never had one offer it like that before. He was curious, but he had to have self-restraint. Still, though, Valerie was willing to go through with it. She was even a griffin, an entirely other species. How often did any stallion in all of Equestria receive that offer? Then there was her figure. She was just as fit as any mare. Comet shook his head and tried to repress those thoughts. What she did last night did in no way improve Comet's opinion of her. It was reprehensible, mean, and somewhat kinky. Comet reached up a hoof and smacked it across his face. He couldn't possibly be attracted to Valerie, not after he admitted Angel was cute. Angel was his friend, and he thought there was maybe some attraction between them, but Valerie had only known him for a day. Finally able to bring his thoughts back under control, Comet pulled himself out of the pile of boxes and trudged back down to the bunk room. Valerie, in turn, was woke up by an unusually loud Angel. "Good morning, sleepyhead!" Angel seemed to shout a decibel way too high for her ears. Valerie pulled her pillow out and shoved it right on top of her head. "Go away," she mumbled weakly. Evidently she had too much to drink last night. She only had, 9 ciders? That was nothing for a griffin like herself, who only felt this bad after 12 stouts. Was Valerie a lightweight when it came to pony drinks? She never got to think of her answer, since a hoof poked her in her back, right where the feathers became fur. "Aw, come on!" Angel's outrageously loud voice rang out. "You can't feel that bad." "How were you not hungover?" Valerie moaned. "Pet ponies have naturally high metabolisms, which means we don't get hangovers. For long," Angel said happily, much to Valerie's annoyance. The griffin groaned angrily and pushed herself up by her claws, but immediately fell back into the bed. Her head ached and pounded like never before, so she pulled a pillow onto her head, hoping to relieve some of the pain. Angel giggled to Valerie and extended a hoof to lift the pillow. She got a brief glimpse of her pale gold irises before a claw shoved the pillow back down. Angel giggled again. She was just like Comet when Angel wanted to play around, so she proceeded to annoy Valerie until she got out of bed. Angel lifted the feathers on Valerie's midsection where her feathers became fur to see if she was just stitched together, then played a game of tennis using her hoofs as rackets and Valerie's tail as the ball. It was only when Angel had taken interest in Valerie's paws did the griffin decide to turn her annoyed face on. "Do you really have to force me to get up?" she said in her groggy voice. Angel gave a big grin to the irritated griffin and nodded. Valerie groaned again and shoved her beak into the pillow. It wasn't just a hangover Valerie was contending with. Something horrible had crept into her mind, and she was trying to figure out what it was. It was a sensation of warm lips against her beak, some laughing and a taste of feathers and fur. Valerie dreaded what it might mean since her memory of last night ended in the tavern. But at the same time, the sensations of her body remembered they were pleasant. About a half hour later of Angel pestering, Valerie finally got out of bed. The two of them cleaned themselves and headed down to the mess hall for a rather late breakfast. Valerie silently thanked Griffin, god of the griffins, that today was another day off. Upon reaching the mess hall, Angel instantly located Comet, who sat by himself chewing slowly on a bite of oatmeal. Valerie approached him, and his reaction said it all. His eyes went wide and he turned his head from her. Luckily, Angel didn't seem to catch that. After a breakfast of plain oatmeal for Comet, fresh sliced pineapple and 2 apples for Angel, and granola mixed with sunflower seeds for Valerie, the trio headed off to the recreation room of the castle, Angel happily chatting away to both Comet and Valerie while they gave small responses. When they were about halfway there, a Pegasus guard approached the trio and said, "Private Angel Beats." "That's me," she sing-songed. "Captain Shining Armor is requested to speak with you," he stated briskly. "I've been sent to collect you." "Okay then. Bye, Comet. Bye, Valerie," Angel stated with a happy bouncing grin. Comet gave her a smile, and Valerie waved, but neither said anything. That worried Angel. But she proceeded off with the guard. Comet and Angel stood there in awkward silence for a couple minutes after she left, before Valerie managed to work up some courage and say something. "So, Comet, about last night, what happened?" she asked tentatively. Comet clenched his jaw, wishing there was some way for him to get out of this. "We came back to the castle. I put Angel to bed, and then went to bed myself," he lied. Valerie turned to him and stared straight into his eyes. Comet hadn't noticed, but Valerie had a wonderful golden color to her eyes, just like Angel. He felt they were nice to look at, but they conveyed the feeling he was being examined, while Angel's were just blank pools of gold. "You don't have to lie to me," Valerie stated. "What really happened? You can tell me." Comet gulped and looked down. "You were tipsy, and we almost, did something we'd regret," he stated plainly. Valerie stared at his downturned face and felt like he was hiding something. "If something happened, Comet, you can tell me. I'll report myself if it's that bad." "No, nothing happened," Comet said lamely before giving her a sincere yet awkward smile. Valerie gave him a confused look before continuing. "I don't think that's all of it." "Well, yeah, it is. You were drunk, and you made a move on me, and it just shocked me. The end." "Then you're sure we didn't?" "Positive. I wasn't tipsy at all last night." Valerie felt a wave of relief wash over her, and she relaxed. She hadn't realized it, but her claws were curled up and her muscles were tense. She relaxed and gave a nice, sincere smile to Comet, one that seemed to relax him as well. She walked up to him and said, "Why didn't you report me?" Comet gave us a sincere smile and said, "Every pony makes mistakes. We just have to learn from them." He had just finished speaking when he found himself with a face full of feathers and in a hug-like grip. Valerie embraced him gently, but tightened her grip to let him know that she was grateful. No griffin would have ever been nice to her except for her parents, and she felt an odd swelling sensation in her chest. She thought Comet was just cute, but now she knew he was kind-hearted as well, something that she really admired. On the other side of the castle, Angel skipped along happily as the guard led her. It was a long walk to Shining Armor's office, but she enjoyed the tour of the castle. She had tried to talk to the guard, but he wasn't a talker. It was pretty uneventful, actually, but Angel managed to find something cool in every passage. One had several old suits of steel armor worn by knights back in the day. One had a magnificent stained glass window of Celestia and Luna imprisoning a weird creature made up of all sorts of animal parts and stone, and so on. Soon, she was standing outside of an unassuming door of solid wood, and the guard nodded to it. He turned around and left the Bat Pony alone, there to wonder what was behind the door. As she reached for the knob, a musical voice rang out. "Oh dear, I didn't know Shining was expecting you." Angel turned to see a bright pink alicorn with pale yellow and royal purple mane smiling at her. She had deep magenta eyes and seemed to smile through them. Angel yelped slightly and threw her face on the floor, landing with a thud. It hurt her snout, but she made no noise in the presence of Princess Cadance herself. Cadance's smile melted into one of concern as her horn glowed. "Oh, are you all right, little one?" she asked gently, but with a concern as Angel's head lifted up. "Just fine, ma'am," Angel blurted out, nervous. She was unsure of what the princess wanted from her, but she did her best to keep a straight face. "Silly pony. I'm only here to see my husband. He's been under a considerable amount of stress since the changeling attack." Angel wondered if she could really read minds and reached over to open the door. It creaked open and Cadence smiled sincerely. "Thank you. If I may, what's your name?" "Private Angel Beats, ma'am," Angel blurted out again. "Well then, Private Angel Beats, will you check the room for me? It would be bad manners of a princess to ignore the usefulness of her guards," Cadence said with a small giggle.